Thank you very much, Senator Chappelle and all, for that wonderful introduction, and more importantly for the great work that I know you're doing here in this community on behalf of so many constituents that need your voice. So thank you. I also want to give a big thanks to County Executive Dooley for your kind words, and of course to Mayor Slay, and both of y'all for your fine leadership of this area. I know the great opportunities and challenges of local government, and they're definitely both, and y'all are doing a great job. And thank you as well for supporting the Hispanic Chamber. It's very much appreciated. I want to thank and commend Emma Espinosa and Carlos Ramirez for the fantastic leadership that the board has shown and that Carlos and the staff of the Hispanic Chamber have shown in growing the chamber. It's an exciting time, I know, both for the area, for the Hispanic community, and for the chamber itself. So congratulations on the fine work that y'all are doing. I see a lot of similarities between St. Louis and San Antonio. It's an exciting time to be in San Antonio right now. We're the 7th largest city in the United States with 1.3 million people. We're the 2nd largest city in the state of Texas and one of the fastest growing cities. San Antonio today is also a place that in very many ways represents the new face of the American dream. It's a diverse community, like I know St. Louis and the metro area are diverse communities. It's a place that is a young city. The median age of the population is several years younger than the American population. And so it's a city that is looking toward the future. My mother was born in 1947, a baby boomer, and was the first in her family to get a college education. And she was a hellraiser. And so when my brother and I were young, she would drag us around to different rallies and speeches, and she was active in Hispanic issues and women's issues. My mother always carried a red purse to symbolize women's pay equity. And in her office at City Hall, she had this little placard with some sort of cartoon that said, "God is coming back, and boy is she pissed." I did not like politics at that time. When I first started to think about getting into public service was when I got away from San Antonio, when I had the opportunity to go to Stanford. My brother and I graduated from high school in 1992 and then had the chance to get away to the Bay Area for the first time, really see a community outside of mine and see the community that I had grown up in from an outsider's perspective. And what I saw was both encouraging and disheartening. I saw a city in San Antonio that was a wonderful place to raise a family, culturally rich, diverse area. At the same time, what I saw in the Bay Area was a community that was much more well-educated, had higher income levels, more entrepreneurial, more innovative, more ready for the 21st century. And so my interest in public service arose out of how could you combine the best of those two things in a city? And I'm convinced that communities, whether it's St. Louis or San Antonio or New York or the Bay Area or cities around the world that will thrive in the 21st century, will get at least 3 things right. First, there are cities that cultivate brain power. I'm convinced that brain power is the new currency of success in the 21st century global economy. That those communities that create it, that cultivate it, that harness it, will be the ones that thrive. It's estimated that in the coming years, almost 65% of the jobs out there are going to require something more than a high school degree, or some sort of technical training that folks need to be employable, to have the skills to work at one of the main companies in in this area or in San Antonio or in others that need their skills. In San Antonio, we launched something in 2010 called SA 2020. We asked the residents of San Antonio to come together and to set a blueprint for the next 10 years in our city. And we launched it actually on Saturday, September 25th, 2010. And the question was, what kind of city do we want to be on Friday, September 25th, 2020? At the end of the day, there was one issue more than anything else in our community that people wanted us to do. And that was to boost educational achievement, to create opportunity in San Antonio. We created something called Cafe College, which is a one-stop center in downtown San Antonio where anybody, whether they go to public school or charter school or private school, whether their folks make a lot of money or hardly any money at all, can go and get free admissions and financial aid advice and ACT and SAT preparation courses. We also worked with Big Brothers Big Sisters and City Year and others to increase the number of mentors in our community, particularly folks in our business community, to offer a practical path to our young people on how they can achieve success. And most recently, in November of 2012, San Antonians did something that they had never done before. They decided to raise taxes on themselves. Now, let me say that again. They voted for a sales tax increase of 1/8% to significantly expand high-quality, full-day pre-K in our city, so that San Antonio will have the best educated, most well-prepared 4-year-olds in all of the state of Texas. And one of the reasons I'm excited to be here is that there is no question that the Hispanic Chamber and the Hispanic community in general play a fundamental role in ensuring the prosperity of our nation. In 2010, the census reported to us that the Hispanic community had grown to nearly 17% of the nation's population, the fastest growing community in the United States. It also showed that in places like Texas, of the folks under the age of 18 in Texas, the new growth, 95% of that new growth was in the Hispanic community. I know here in the St. Louis area that the Hispanic community has grown by more than 60% in the city, in the county, the region, and in the state. And nationally, 23% of the folks 18 and under are already Hispanic. And so, as we think about America's prosperity in the 21st century, there is no separation between the destiny of the Hispanic community and the destiny of the United States. The second thing I'm convinced that communities need to do to thrive is to connect that brain power with opportunity. Now, I have to say that I haven't spent a lot of time in St. Louis, but any community that can give us Anheuser-Busch and Build-A-Bear, you see it in your workplaces. You see the importance of connecting the skills and the intelligence and the credentials of folks with the practical needs of your company. You also see in this chamber the value of cultivating entrepreneurship and small business ownership. The fact is that, as you all know, small businesses make up about 75% of the jobs in most local communities. And companies that have been in existence less than 5 years overwhelmingly create the jobs, especially during downturns like the one we just went through. The third thing that I'm convinced we need to do as a community to thrive is to ensure that we have a livable and lively place. I had the opportunity to study in the Bay Area and then in Boston. While we were in law school and thinking about whether to come home, there were a whole bunch of folks from Texas, but hardly anybody wanted to return, and nobody was going back to San Antonio, Texas. And when we think about the global competition, not just for investment, but also for the attention and the willingness of population that is more mobile than ever to choose your community, we think about creating cities that offer something for everyone, that are safe, that are affordable, but also that are exciting with a downtown and an art scene and amenities like parks that give it a vivacity and a character that you might not be able to get in the middle of suburbia. And it's important that the greatest communities in the world, whether they're in the United States or overseas, are communities that don't belong to any one group, but belong to everyone. Communities that have a place for everybody. So impressed by the work that the Mosaic Project is doing in St. Louis, the vision and the spirit of it to be a welcoming community for others. It's very clear that in the years to come, it's going to become more and more important for folks to welcome in the young, the immigrants, diverse elements of our society, folks who can infuse entrepreneurialism and energy and take up the jobs in our companies in the 21st century. And communities like this one, like St. Louis, that have the vision to welcome them, to stitch together the fabric of different communities into one, are the ones that truly will thrive. I have always believed that the best thing one can say about a community is that I felt comfortable there. That's what St. Louis is doing by welcoming everyone to this community. The beauty of the local community is that cities and counties are where things still get done in the United States of America, where people, no matter if they're Republican or Democrat, if they're rich or poor, what neighborhood they live in, have to live together. And because of that, they can work together. And I know that working together, local communities can create a 21st century that is stronger than ever for the United States. Thank you very much.